Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. God blessed us with a beautiful day today again. Although it was kind of raining earlier, but now it's clearing up and stuff, so that's good. And what also was good is that the fact that Georgia won over the weekend, 35-14. Georgia returns to the win column after a very difficult loss to Wake Forest. To Alabama, I apologize. 99 Wake Forest is on my mind right now, so where do we start? Well, hold on one second. So anyway, Georgia with the win Saturday. You love to see it. Georgia played really good Saturday. There was some good, there was some bad, but first and foremost, we'll recap the game real quick, and you're gonna have real quick before we do that, here are first half highlights with Scott Howard, Josh Brock, and the Georgia Bulldog Radio Network.
Already. 3rd down and 5 on the Kentucky 7 for the Dogs. 12th play of the drive. Stockton all kinds of time, surveys the field. Now going to pull it down and run to the 5, to the 3. He dives for the pylon, and he got it. Touchdown, Gunnar Stockton. All day long, wanted to deliver the ball to the end zone, did Gunnar, but had all the time in the world. Great protection up front from his offensive line, but also, too, great job from Juan Gaston not getting downfield. Lineman, eligible receiver downfield, held his position, and then went downfield to block. And then Gunnar did the rest there, Scott.
Previous play, the officials set 25 on the penalty for Kentucky, but it was 6. It was Hardaway, the guy who made the tackle. Snap it to Gunnar, hand it to, no, he's going to fake it to Bowens. Gunnar just leaves a guy in his wake at the 6-yard line. He put him on the turf for that fake and gets into the end zone in the right corner again. Gunnar Stockton with his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon.
There's some Kentucky underwear on the 8-yard line down there, Scott. My goodness, what a run.
Oh, my goodness. He had 2 guys down. Actually, Sam Green, one of the linebackers, is one of the players that bought it. Play fake here. He throws it over the middle. Tight end running free, and he's going to run right into the end zone. Caught it inside the 20, and Josh Caddis had nobody to impede his progress into the end zone. Attention paid to it, but the flag had already been dropped. Bowens is in the backfield with Stockton. Play fake Gunnar. He'll throw it over the middle and intercepted. A high-reaching interception by Lovett, the safety. He's going to return it 20, 25 near sideline and into the Georgia bench area. Just shy of the 30-yard line. Tackled by Sokovie. Mad at himself for not being able to complete that. Or mad at something. So the Cats will try a field goal here with Jacob Coway. He's 8 for 8 on kicks this year. This is a short one. A 25.5-yarder. And the kick is no good. No good. He missed it. Wow. Now he's 8 for 9. How about that finish for the half? Cats can't convert. They can't get it in the end zone. Can't get it between the uprights. Score remains 21-7 at the half here in Athens.
All right, so you see the highlights there. So let's jump right in. Georgia's first drive, they actually had a negative play for a loss of a few yards, and after that they went down the field and scored. Gunnar Stockton with a touchdown drive, or a touchdown run, but led the touchdown drive. Gunnar Stockton had 2 touchdown runs in this game. Very, very good for Gunnar. I didn't really know he was a runner, but indeed he is, and that's really good for the Dogs. Second touchdown was a run too. Pretty much almost the same kind of runs. A fake, hand it off, play fake, and then run in the middle. So those were really good for Gunnar, and it's really good to see him getting better. Someone that's not getting better is Georgia's offensive line. They once again sucked the entire game. Gunnar took some hit. He took a hit near the end of the first half that kind of reminded me of Carson Beck against Texas last year. And that would have not been good. That was the same result. He was like throwing it, and he got hit while he threw it, so his body rotated, and it was just not really good, not good. But, you know, Georgia played great. So Georgia scores 2 touchdowns, and then Kentucky scores the touchdown, and then Georgia throws a pick. That was one of Gunner's only bad things of the day. And it pretty much really wasn't even a bad throw. It was more of a Kentucky linebacker or safety or whoever it was making a play. He jumped high in the air to, I think that's what I was saying, just a really great play by Kentucky player, and then they did not score. Now, there was a very controversial moment in the game where late in the half where Kentucky was driving, and then they called a ball, and they said it was incompletion. They reviewed it, and they said it was an incompletion. And I was like, dang, Georgia actually just got a call. Because Georgia usually does not get calls that go their way. That's just the unfortunate thing about the Dogs. I mean, they've never gotten calls that really go our way. We never really do get those kind of calls, and you know, when you get a weird one that goes your way, it just says, like, you think back like, wow. Because I mean, I think of all the times Georgia has lost, just not football games, even basketball games. It must remind you the over the back against Tennessee in 2011, Jackson Eder versus Auburn in 2022 when Eder took a charge and they didn't call it. So I mean, Georgia has just a weird history with getting calls and stuff like that. So the fact Georgia got one in this game was very interesting. Then 3 or 4 plays later, what does Kentucky do after that happens? Their kicker missed a chip shot field goal. So you go from being able to maybe make it 21-14, and Kentucky gets the ball back to start the second half. You could have double dipped and tied the game. Instead, you missed the field goal, and any hope you had from winning just went out the door. In the second half, real quick, here are the highlights with Scott Howard and Josh Brock.
Resulted in a negative play.
We've got Bobo, Morris, Glover, Gaston, and Hughley as our offensive line. Frazier's in the backfield. They run a reverse with Dylan Bell, wide open sprint into the end zone, far side of the field, his second touchdown of the day, a 3-yard run. Everybody was going left except for Dylan Bell. He undercut Gunner and he pitched him the ball, and off he went wide open into the end zone on the far right side of the field for the score.
Great play call by offensive coordinator Mike Bobo, a team that likes to pursue, and you've seen that pursuit all day long. Watching their eyes in the backfield, watching our guys going all over the place, pulled the reverse out at the right time. Dylan Bell able to just walk into the end zone, really, Scott.
Another Georgia touchdown brought to you by Conecuh Sausage, the official smoked sausage of the Georgia Bulldogs. And Peyton Woodring will try the point after attempt. The kick is on its way, and the kick is good. 28-7, Georgia.
I'm looking at him right here as number 7, Lawson Lucky, lined up in the slot on the near side.
All right, calling it right now. Cash Jones in the backfield with Gunner. Kentucky brings 4. Gunner over the middle to Cash. Caught at the 12, to the 10, to the 5. End zone. Touchdown. Check a flag in the Georgia backfield. Let's see if it's a hold or a hit on the quarterback. Georgia's not reacting either way. 2 officials are talking to one another. We'll get the call from Jeff Heiser, the referee.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 35, contact to the helmet. That penalty ensues, enforced on a succeeding kickoff, results of the play is a touchdown.
Well, Josh, we did have a 16-yard touchdown play in the playbook, but it wasn't Cash.
It wasn't to number 7, but number 7 did a good job clearing out both of his defenders on his route. Cash with an option route just across, and Gunner doing a great job checking it down to him right away, seeing the opening in the middle of the field there in the Kentucky defense, and then, of course, Cash just doing the rest.
He used his speed after he caught. Guys know each other from camps and all sorts of things. They've known each other for a long time, so they'll speak to one another and Georgia is a winner this afternoon. Final score, the Dogs 35, Kentucky 14. So Georgia now 4-1 for the year, 2-1 in the SEC. Kentucky drops to 0-3 in the conference and under 500 overall at 2-3. They have now lost 8 straight games in the Southeastern Conference. The Dogs win their 6th.
Yeah, I love seeing Dylan Bell in those plays. Dylan Bell played great, had 2 touchdowns, and they were almost identical. You like to see Dylan Bell doing stuff. You know, he's been on Georgia for a while now, and there's still a lot of Georgia fans who don't like or don't respect Dylan Bell. So to see him show out Saturday was very, very nice. Cass Jones with the touchdown late too. Now in the fourth quarter, Puglinski did throw an interception, which led to a touchdown later on. But don't let nobody tell you that Puglinski is better than Gunner, because that's just not the case. I don't care if he's a Gonzaga fan or not. Just do not listen. So yeah, it was a very weird game at the end, 35-14. And I apologize because I'm reading my phone. The Atlanta Hawks play today too, so we'll also talk about the Hawks here in a moment. But we'll recap that. Georgia Kentucky at the end of the day was just a really good game. A really good game for Georgia. That was your get right game, and you needed it because you got to play Auburn. The Auburn game will be at 7:30 Saturday, so a night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And we know that there is some crap that goes on at Jordan-Hare Stadium every day. So, you know, or not every day, but every time Georgia goes to Jordan-Hare Stadium, there's some crap going on. So, Georgia has to make the best of it. And yeah, Georgia and Auburn have played great games. You think of, 2002, David Green to Michael Johnson. You think of 2006 when Georgia went on the road and were underdogs and upset Auburn. They pretty much derailed any hopes they have winning the SEC and their national championship. 2009, but that game was in Georgia, but 2009 was a really good game. If you have to Scott Howard cough that full game, I'd like to hear it, please. Thank you very much. 2010, that is the game that a lot of people say that the rivalry turned. It went from being a friendly rivalry, or just not really friendly, but we could respect one another, to dirty and Nick Fairley with the cheap shots in the game and pulling Georgia's players' hair off and stuff like that. So that's when they said the Georgia-Auburn rivalry took a turn for the worst, was when the Nick Fairley games. And then, you know what, I don't blame him, because Aaron Murray said in an interview just a few years ago that he thought about stop playing football after those games. And that's bad. That is bad. If you get hit that hard and you say you don't even want to play no more, and you're a competitor like Aaron Murray was, that's bad. But do you think about 2012 when Georgia went to Auburn and then stomped the Mohole in them like 45-0 or something like that, 35-0, and pretty much got Gene Chizik fired, and then a year later, because of Alabama and Missouri joining the SEC. But yeah, I'm sorry I keep pausing, man. I'm just having issues. But when Missouri and Texas A&M joined the SEC, they made Georgia go back to Jordan-Hare a year later, which they still haven't even made Auburn pay back. And that was the miracle in Jordan-Hare game. Georgia got down. Hold on a second, guys. Anyway, as I was saying, that was the game Georgia got down big, and then late in the fourth quarter, they start coming back. Aaron Murray with a touchdown run. He ran up the middle, got to the goal line, got hit pretty hard, and was able to give Georgia the lead. And we thought that would give Georgia the win. I actually remember that game. I'm old enough I can remember that game. I remember being just so devastated after what happened after Aaron Murray scored the touchdown. And it's 4th and 18. Nick Marshall runs up, kind of gets forced back a few yards, then runs up, just launches it downfield. Two Georgia guys hit the ball. It ricochets off the Georgia players into the air, and Ricardo Lewis catches it and runs it to the end zone for a touchdown. Auburn wins it, unfortunately. Not a good memory, but what was a good memory was 2 years later in Jordan-Hare 2015, the Isaiah McKenzie punt return and speed sweep game. And Ricardo Lewis, who caught that pass 2 years ago against Georgia, fumbled in the end zone. And then that ended that game. And then in 2016, that was Kirby Smart's first season at Georgia. They won. They beat Auburn, a top 10 Auburn team. And then they somehow lost to a Georgia Tech team. But the 2017, which is where we stand, that was Georgia's last loss to Auburn in general. And that loss pretty much didn't mean anything, because so anyway, Georgia and then Auburn then played again in the SEC championship. Georgia won. That was the game DeAndre Swift with the long touchdown run it back to Philadelphia. 2019 was a really good game, but really odd. It was low scoring. I don't remember the score. It might have been 22 to 16 or something along those lines. And then 2021, that was the game, if you've ever seen the photo of Lad McConkey scoring that touchdown over one of the Auburn players. But Auburn players, like, he's over the Auburn player, and then the Auburn player's like trying to hang on to his cleats or something like that. So yeah, that was a very interesting game. And in 2023, obviously the last time Georgia went to Jordan-Hare, that was the game Carson bet to Brock Bowers. And to be honest, if Georgia didn't have Brock Bowers, they wouldn't have won that game at all. So Georgia arguably should have lost that game. So the fact that they're going back to Jordan-Hare with arguably a better Auburn team playing there, it's scary to think about, because there's always some crap that goes on at Jordan-Hare Stadium whenever Georgia plays there. Just not Georgia, it goes to everybody. I mean, just look what happened the same year they beat Georgia off a tip pass. A week later, they beat Alabama on a kick return field goal. So, it's just weird. But Georgia has to stop Auburn. I feel like if you can stop their run game, you should be able to win this game easily. And to me, that says a lot about Auburn's run game. I mean their run game by their quarterback run game, because I'm not saying that their quarterback is Cam Newton by any means, but if you could just stop the running game, that would be wonderful. I do think Georgia wins, but we'll have to wait and see the other scores in the SEC. The other scores in the SEC Saturday. And I'm trying to get it pulled up so I can read them to you. Unfortunately, college football just isn't freaking easy to come by on the home screen on ESPN. There were some big upsets in the SEC, including one I predicted, by the way. So, not many games in the SEC. Only 4 more after Georgia. Oklahoma beat Kent State 44-0. We hope that Oklahoma player is okay. He went like head first into concrete or something, so we hope he is. I hope he's fine. Texas A&M at Mississippi State 31-9. Florida beat Texas 29-21. Now, did I not say I had Florida winning that game? I was right. Florida won that game, and that score does not prove how Florida dominated that game. And then Alabama beat Vanderbilt 30-14. Alabama avenges their loss over they avenged their loss over Alabama. Of course, if you know, they beat Alabama in Vanderbilt last year. Cannot say the same for you cannot say the same for this year. The games this week, of course, Alabama or Georgia at Auburn at 7:30. Alabama, Missouri at 12. Ole Miss and Washington State at 12:45. Oklahoma and Texas, the All-State Red River rivalry at 3:30. I always thought that game was played at 12 o'clock. Oh no. Tennessee, Arkansas at 4:15. I think that's a trap game for Tennessee. I think Arkansas wins that game. They did last year, so let's see can they do it again this year. Texas A&M at Florida, number 5 A&M versus Florida. I think that's a trap game for Texas A&M too. I have Florida winning that game to LSU, South Carolina. LSU obviously wins, so that's the SEC this week. Obviously, Georgia and Auburn carry that torch. And, you know, Texas went from like 9 to unranked. Penn State went from 7 to unranked after their loss to UCLA over the weekend. You just can't lose some of these games that you just cannot lose. Like, you're Penn State. And I like James Franklin. I tell people all the time that I'd rather have James Franklin than any other coach. If I didn't have my coach, I'd rather have James Franklin. And that loss was just completely unacceptable. It was 27-7 at one point. Like, losing to UCLA, and I like UCLA, but there's no reason why you should have lost that game. Texas, I get, because Florida. Let's take a guy something. I've been saying it for weeks. Florida is a great team. If they had a better coach, they'd be undefeated right now. And that's the truth. If Florida had a better coach, they'd be undefeated. They would have beat USF or UCF or whoever it was. They would have beat every SEC team they played. Again, don't like Florida. We're Georgia fans, so obviously Georgia and Florida don't like each other. But that's pretty much the truth. If Florida had a better coach, they'd be undefeated. So I get, but you drop Texas all the way out. That's still an SEC loss. So, you know, I don't know if that was, and I don't like Texas, so obviously I'm glad they're out the top 25. But I mean, I guess that was a little too extreme, maybe for me, but definitely not dropping Penn State out of the top 25 completely after losing to UCLA. You just can't do that. The fact that you even pondered that idea is embarrassing to itself. Penn State should have to drop football because they lost that game. But final thoughts on Georgia and Auburn is, you know, it's going to be a great game. Georgia's going to be in a dogfight. This is going to be Auburn's first true big game of the year. I do have Georgia winning, and my score prediction is Georgia 27, Auburn 24, a field goal late in the game. Now, let's get to some other sports. Predators open up the season Thursday versus Columbus. And the Predators piss me off because on years that they're predicted to do bad, they do good. In years they're predicted to do good, they do bad. So I'm watching somebody at a power pole right here. I genuinely have no idea what the freak's going on over there. You can hear it. Oh man, you are a better human being than I am. There is no way I'd be up that high. Ugh, I couldn't do that. I'm afraid of heights. Anyway, the Predators are just not good this year, and they did win the last preseason game versus Carolina in overtime, like 3-4 or 3-2. So, the Predators are just so wishy-washy and weird. I don't get it. They're going to be bad this year, and you have to mentally be able to brace yourself in that they're going to be bad this year. If you thought last year was bad, this year might be even worse. But hey, if they show up good on them. And you might have noticed I quit talking for a few minutes earlier in the video. Atlanta Hawks opened up basketball season today too. Preseason basketball, Atlanta versus Houston. I do not know if the game is going to be on 92.90 game or anything like that. So I do not know if it will be streamed anywhere. And for the Hawks' big expectations this year, with all the injuries in the Eastern Conference, the Hawks could win the Eastern Conference this year, in my opinion, and make the NBA Finals. I know that sounds odd, but you have Trae Young, you have Jalen Johnson. That's all you need, pretty much, is those two guys to add on. You got better big guys than you had last season. As a Georgia fan, I'm personally excited to see what Asa Newell is going to do. I believe Asa Newell is worthy enough to be on the starting roster at the moment. So, that's just my personal opinion. I believe he could be on the starting roster at the moment. Is that going to happen? No, probably not, because he's just a rookie. He hasn't even played a game yet. But I believe Asa Newell would be on the starting lineup in the regular roster. He'll probably go to College Park for a few months and then get promoted to the NBA, if that's how that works. And then, of course, Zachary Richichet. He played great last year. He played better than everybody mostly thought he would be playing. So that's good. That's good too. I just believe that this team for the Hawks will be their best team they've had at least since the season they made the Eastern Conference Finals in 2022. It's been a minute. So, if you're the Hawks, everything's in front of you. You can do this. Winning the Eastern Conference isn't a joke. You actually can do this. And I would say maybe there's going to be some people say maybe the Eastern Conference is a little too high for this team that doesn't have really done anything yet. And I would disagree. Because, I believe in this team this year. I believe in Trae Young. And a lot of people need to. There's a lot of people that don't believe in Trae Young. They believe that they should have traded him or do this or do that. I believe 100% to Trae Young. So, I've never been one of those people to bash Trae or anything like that. I believe that Trae Young can lead this team to an NBA championship. I absolutely believe it. The Falcons did not play this week. So there's that. They're going to play Buffalo next Monday. Next Monday, I believe. And the Bills lost last night to the Patriots. They blew a 20-point lead, I think. Or they blew some kind of lead. I didn't watch it, but I heard that it was bad for the fans of the Bills. To be honest, I just don't have the Falcons winning Monday. If the Falcons could run the ball on the Bills and stop Josh Allen from going off, I think that the Falcons can win, but I just don't see Atlanta winning this game. The Bills are way better than the Falcons, and I just don't see it happening. So I was trying to figure anything else. A NASCAR race ended crazy yesterday. Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin hit each other going to the line, and they went to the line backwards. AJ Allmendinger, I think, did too, but they didn't even show it on TV. So Joey Logano got in over Chastain, got in over Chastain. I think that Denny Hamlin is going to regret that because Joey Logano is willing to do anything to win a championship. He's proved it in the past, and that's one of the reasons. I like Joey Logano. I'm not a Joey Logano hater by any means. Remember in 2018, he spun out Truex to get to the championship. He hit Hamilton a few years ago. So, I think that Logano could win the championship, and they'll probably change the point system after this year. They need to bring back the chase. That was the best point system they had, but then you had crazy stuff going on where, Matt Kenseth in 2002 only won one race and somehow won the championship. But there was one year Bill Elliott won 11 races and Darrell Waltrip won the championship, but they were not the same point system. Just different times. But the winner of the race was at Charlotte Roval was Shane Van Gisbergen, and he's won 5 straight road courses. He could tie Jeff Gordon's record of 6 next year. And I see him with no signs of slowing down, so I do believe indeed that will happen. Georgia and Auburn. The Hawks play tonight. The Predators play Thursday night. The Falcons. We're ready to go. This is why we wake up for these weekends. And for Georgia and Auburn, this is a crucial game. Georgia has to win this game. You can't have 2 losses because I feel like you're screwed if you are. You just have to win. You can't lose to Auburn. Auburn's a rival, right? You want to beat Auburn. As that song said, I like driving in my truck. I like driving in my truck. If you know the rest of the words, you can finish along. So yeah, guys. I was trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. I don't think there is. A WNBA championship is good. I think they're up. Somebody's up 2 games. I think that Las Vegas is maybe. I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I did watch the last game. I watched the game, the first game that one of the teams missed free throws, and they come back to haunt them late. They lost on a missed shot, but I can't think of anything to talk about. So that's it. Georgia and Auburn. Be ready. Be ready for Georgia and Auburn. Georgia-Wisconsin radio highlights will come out soon. And more radio highlights to come. And again, I know I have to do a self-plug. If you have Scott Howard's call of December 11th, 1999 Wake Forest, please comment below. I love to find it. Any Scott Howard calls that have never been found, if you have, I will genuinely love to find them and maybe we can work something out and you can post them. So, go Dogs, go Hawks, go Predators, go Hurricanes. I don't know who I want to win the NASCAR playoffs. Maybe Chase Elliott, so go Chase Elliott, I guess. But more importantly, go Dogs, beat Auburn, Saturday night. Radio coverage starts at 3:30. Be ready. Go Dogs.